Hi, welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger. Today we're going to be talking with Scott Howard, who's a musician who's taking his music in a different direction. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Scott, what does this mean, taking your music in a different direction?
About 3 years ago, I went through, my own kind of ascension, and I realized that my music was meant to be performed in a certain way to be, perceived or taken in more deeply. And I realized everything was in a frequency. So I perform everything at a 432 frequency, which may not mean a lot to many people, but it's a way of raising the consciousness of anyone that's listening. And most performances are done in 440. And mine is done in a way where the listener engages more and feels the positive nature of my sound.
So when you say they engage more, it's actually on a sort of passive basis, though. It's not like
on a spiritual basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
to give a little history lesson, during World War II, the Germans figured out how to affect the being by frequency. Everything was changed to 440. Broadcasting, musical instruments were changed to 440. That was a standard tuning. And it affected the listener in a negative manner, whether it was mental illness, cancer. These things went on for, obviously, most illnesses occurred after World War II. And the frequency of 432 is where things were done before. Bach, Beethoven, most of them performed at a 432 frequency, which is why the music was perceived or received in a positive nature. Rock and roll, most of my music, it is a rock and roll, if you will. It's if you like Cat Stevens meets Peter Gabriel meets Phil Collins, all wrapped up in one with a positive message performed in a 432 frequency, which will raise the consciousness of the listener. That's me. So I hope I've answered your question there some way.
Okay, but you've still got me curious on this point, because this idea of these frequencies is different than the frequencies I'm familiar with. Now, just a comparison, when we're talking about classical music, were these earlier composers consciously composing or producing music at this frequency, or just naturally seeing that's what it was?
That's exactly correct. The tuning of the piano was at a 432. So when they tuned the piano physically, it was tuned that way. So they didn't know any better, but afterwards, the tuning, the broadcasting was done at a 440. Now you got 5G coming into the world right now. So again, everything is frequency, everything. If you could change your frequency, you could walk through a wall. It's just a radio station. When you listen to a radio station at 67, you hear a song. When you listen to it at 103, you hear a different song. It's just frequency, everything is frequency.
But we're not talking about radio frequencies when you're referring to 432 as your music.
It's the same thing, it's all megahertz.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So this is just a 432 megahertz versus a 440 megahertz. That's the broadcasting. Radio is just a lower or higher. So you've got shortwave radio, you've got FM, you've got AM. They're all different megahertz, all different frequencies. So it's just a matter of what makes you feel good.
Okay, so the fact that your music is tuned to 432 as a frequency is,
it'll help raise the consciousness of the listener.
Okay.
Yes, and if you go onto YouTube and you'll see, hear sound in 432 or 932. You got, again, Nikola Tesla knew about frequencies. A lot of everything about his science was frequency. It's the same thing with my music. So.
Okay. Now you mentioned earlier that this started because of an ascension.
Yes. Well, again, my son passed away a number of years ago, and this is actually, today is his anniversary of his passing. I say this was the day he was taken, and I kind of came to the conclusion that that my music had to be performed for the greater good. Obviously, everything I try to do is for the greater good, whether it's for the listener, for myself. And the idea, obviously, is to make the listener be able to engage with what I'm trying to say. And when they walk away from whatever they're hearing, they're walking away as a better spirit, a better soul.
Okay, so I kind of got two questions here. You can handle them however you wish, but to make sure that the viewers and I and we're all on the same page
Don't
here.
get lost.
Yeah, what exactly is Ascension, and then how does it relate to your son and that
we all go through a journey. You know, we're all here for a journey. This is not we're just not here for nothing. We're here to grow our souls. We're here to learn lessons. We are here to make sure we don't cross the bridge again twice and make the same mistake. So I think we're all here for a journey going this way. It doesn't, it's always good to go uphill. It's not good to go downhill. You end up tumbling and falling. So we're all here to raise our frequency, raise our awareness that things are not exactly what they seem, and open your eyes and awaken. And actually, one of my songs on my album, Ascended Man, is called Awaken.
Okay, so then would it be appropriate to say that Ascension is raising your spirit or becoming awakened spiritually?
Yes,
Okay.
Raising your consciousness, raising your frequency. They say the harder you work, the luckier you get. So if you live a good life and you make the right decisions and you keep on going, your frequency increases. So as your frequency increases, you're able to manifest things easier. So just live a good life and keep learning and keep listening to good music.
Good. Now, since you brought this up, so what is the tie-in here between the Ascension, your son, and your music?
Well, again, the album is called Ascended Man, but my son, I think he was here for a reason. I think he was here to obviously make me a father, but he was here to teach me how to be, someone you can depend upon, and raise my frequency, open my mind up to, the unknown. Because when he passed, a lot of interesting things happened in my life, a lot of synchronicities, which took me to my music. So I knew that I had to get my music out. It was time for the world to hear what I had to say and feel, because I've gone through, been married, I've had children and been divorced with bills to pay. Of course, it's a line from my song. But in any case, it's just, we're all on the same journey, and it's a matter of when we leave, we want to leave the place we've left a better place than when we came here. And I think that's what most people are realizing is there's no place for war. There's no place for polluting this earth that we're in. We have got to make it a better place, and the only way to do that, because the earth is increasing. The earth is going to go to a 5D world, whether the world takes us with it or not. The world's increasing in frequency. All the planets are increasing in frequency. They're all getting seasons. They're all heating up. The entire solar system is changing. So we have got to change with our surroundings. Otherwise, we're going to get left behind.
Now, Scott, can you describe a little more what you mean when you say the planet's going to go to a 5D?
Well, years ago, this was a very 3D, a very heavy. This is a very heavy world we're in here. It's a very dense world. If you look up, you see, you see clouds and stuff. It's a very heavy. We're the densest. We're down here, but the planet itself is increasing. You see a lot of earthquakes now, a lot of volcano eruptions. It's going through growth pains, and the planet, as well as everywhere else, is increasing in frequency. If you look at something called the Schumann resonance, the Schumann resonance normally is rather low, but if you look at it now, the Schumann resonance is almost 4 times is what it was 10 years ago. So the Schumann resonance is what the frequency of the planet is right now. And the Schumann resonance is going off the charts because the Earth is increasing in frequency. As are we. You don't realize it, but we are. sometimes you feel like time is speeding up. Interesting things are happening. You're seeing things that you're not sure that you've seen before. So that's really, I think, what made me write my music. I think a lot of people are having certain feelings that they haven't felt before. They don't know where they're coming from. It's coming from Ascension, and I felt that I have to write this down because we're living in a certain part of history that's never been done before. People are seeing things in the sky that they've never seen before. They're going to see more of it. You're going to see a lot of, strange ships and strange lights, and this is the time. This is the time we've all been waiting for and looking for, and disclosures coming, and it's all here.
It's a lot of information to cover in a very short amount of time we have left. But just to wrap up an earlier point, so when you're referring to 3D and 5D, do you mean like 3 dimensions and 5 dimensions? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, going back, everything's frequency. So 3D is, I guess, you're, whether it's length.
It's referring to space.
Space.
Okay.
But 5D is more time. So you're going to find that time is not linear. Time goes in circles, and there are places where time stops. On our planet, there's a lot of interesting things that have been kept from us in Antarctica, and the maps have been amended, if you will. The maps have changed. Things are rearranged. Again, lines from the song, Illusions of Life. So I think that you're going to, I hate to say, you're going to have to, you have to listen, you got to open your eyes, and you have to realize, things are not what they seem. Even the maps, I mean, you look at Australia. Australia used to be called the Down Under. Do you remember the Down Under?
I think some people still refer to it as that.
Well, Australia is no longer down under. It's right next to Japan. So if you look at the maps, things have changed. So I think it comes to that we all are awakening. We're all, increasing in frequency. We don't know it, but we're all going through things we've never felt before. And I felt it was important that my music reflect what I was feeling personally, and where I personally feel that I want to go, because timelines are changing, and I think that you want to be on the right path. I guess timeline and path they're interchangeable. So I want to be on the right path. When things go 5D or whatever it is, wherever it's going to be, I want to make sure I'm on the right path.
Okay.
The highest good, the right path.
Scott, we're just about out of time. Is there a website that viewers can go to for more information? And do you have a summating message for the viewers?
My website is scotthowardmusic.com. I've got some interesting music videos on the website, as well as my YouTube, Scott Howard. But I think you'll find that the music videos are very interesting based on what I've just said here today. So it kind of visualizes my thoughts. So I think, again, we're all going on an ascension. We're all going on an amazing journey here. It's kind of like Disneyland in reality, and that's. So I guess I'm an ascended man.
Well done. Thank you very much, Scott.
Yeah, appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.